Hey everyone, it's Presley ActOutGames.com here, and I am writing. Woo! So this is actually for Druidon, which is the writing class I take, and it might get published, which I'm super duper excited about. So I got this prompt when I was like 9, and I wrote it. And it doesn't compare to my current writing skills, so I decided that I wanted to rewrite it and make it longer and make it better. And I have already passed all my ideas for the story by Miriam, who is the teacher that is publishing this, so I know that this will be okay. So I'm going to read the first couple of paragraphs that I wrote this morning. I'm aiming for getting about 15 pages done, which is really hard for me because I never like finish stories. I usually write really short stories. So the prompt was salt versus pepper. So I decided that I was going to do a really tropey thing, which is enemies to friends to lovers, just because I am really weak for that trait. So I decided that I wanted to write something about it, and it's also a soulmate AU. So look at how cheesy and fanfiction-y my writing is. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and write. The first chapter is Salt. I've already designed these characters, and there's a drawing of them on my computer. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it out. Salt sat on the sidewalk in front of her house. Tomorrow was her 16th birthday, the day she had been waiting to come for her whole life. But everything wasn't going as she had planned. Her best friend had moved away to a different country. Her school had expelled her, and she was moving to a new one today. And she was 16 and never met her soulmate. Most people found their soulmate by now. There are people that didn't see color until they met their soulmate, but she had seen color her whole life. There are people that had markings that showed who her soulmate was, but Salt had nothing unusual in her body. Perhaps she didn't have a soulmate at all. The only unusual thing about her was her name, Rosemary Salt Brooke. She didn't like the name Rosemary, so she usually went by her middle name, Salt, which is clearly not your average name. She planned on changing her name back to Salt. She planned on changing her name whenever she got the chance. Salt! Breakfast is ready, her mother called. She sighed. Time to start her day. She got up and walked slowly to the door, pushing it open. The smell of warm pancakes wafted through, and she smiled. Pancakes are one of her favorite foods ever. A welcoming start to a new day. And that is the writing that I have so far. It's going surprisingly well. I'm trying not to edit anything, not to think about it, just make the pages happen, and I can edit. I have until April 1st, which is a little bit, so I have a little bit, so I'm going to try and get by, I'm going to try and get a page at least by tomorrow, and I'm going to try and get my 15 pages done within the next couple of weeks so that I can spend a lot of time editing and making it perfect, because this is going to get published. So.
Well, April 1st is just in a couple weeks.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about my second essay.
Mm-hmm. Much better.
Yay!
Excellent progress. If you can continue making progress like this, I think you'll be doing really good.
Yay! And mine is about the myth of Icarus and Daedalus, which was a TED Ed video.
TED Ed. Okay, cool. Link in the description, of course, to the video.
Yes, link to the video. And I obviously love Greek mythology a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I've learned about it for a really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely really wanted to talk about the Icarus and Daedalus. This specific essay.
How much of this was in the TED Ed video?
Almost all of it, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Good.
It was a lot about
the backstory.
the backstory
Nice.
and the build up. So
Okay.
it was really, really good. It was the myth of Icarus. Like the myth of Icarus is Icarus flying too close to the sun and falling.
Yeah, of course.
But the myth of Icarus and Daedalus includes all of his backstory things. So,
I'll have to, I'll send a link to this video over to the TED Ed guy.
That would be really cool.
So he'll know you watched and made the thing. I'm
yes,
sure he'll appreciate
I made
that.
a thing. But yeah, I wanted to talk a lot more about Daedalus because you really he's done quite a few things.
Daedalus.
Myths. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Daedalus has.
Yeah.
And you don't really equate him to the guy that made the wings in the Icarus story, and he's so much more than that.
Right.
So I wanted to talk a lot more about his.
Yeah, the maze
backstory.
is the big thing I knew him from. I mean, obviously I knew he did a bunch of other things too, but the maze was sort of a famous thing.
Apparently, according to myths, he brought carpentry. He invented carpentry and all the tools with it, which he probably didn't, but that's what the myth said.
So one of the things I wanted to point out too was feel free to, what I would do probably, like Miss Robin did, is go read this on the Tumblr page, but then you can come here and comment.
Right.
Like if you have notes or suggestions or anything like that, then just comment here in the video.
You don't have to reblog it from Tumblr.
Yeah, it's not, like commenting is not the simplest thing on Tumblr.
Yeah.
Who do you know the name of the person that left us the really awesome big comment?
Oh, I
do you
don't
remember
remember
her
their name.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was fantastic though.
Yes, thank you
The
all
big
so
advice
much.
and suggestions.
Yes.
It was really good. And I think I
And
see some of that in here.
They are. There is something.
I thought so. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me read through it real quick and do some. I've read it as a high level, and we talked a little bit about structure and making sure that their support. And Presley worked a little bit more too on her outlining, right?
Yes.
Of the idea, coming up with a topic, and how the support paragraphs are going to work, which I think worked out really well. All right, so let me put this down. All right, so I'm sure you've heard the myth of Icarus by now. It's used in pop culture frequently. An example being in the song "Burn" from the musical Hamilton.
course there's a
Eliza
reference.
compares her husband to Icarus, in that he's ambitious and has flown too close to the sun. Okay, I think there may be way too many commas in that sentence. So you might want to take a look at your comma usage in that sentence.
There's a lot of commas.
There's a lot of commas in there that probably aren't necessary. Okay, but most think of Icarus as the main character, when his father Daedalus might be the more interesting character. So see, that's a good topic.
Yay.
That's a solid topic sentence, right? Because that's what you're going to try and back up, is the idea that Daedalus might be the more interesting
And do I have
character.
to look at the first sentence to make the topic sentence?
What do you mean?
Do I have to make it the first sentence?
No, of course not. It just needs to be in
Yay.
yeah, the last sentence of the topic paragraph is usually a good place for that too. So that's cool. You're solid there. Daedalus was a genius inventor who brought many great things to Greece, but even though he was a genius, he was very egotistical. Yeah, maybe even because he was a genius, but I'll take that. He was worried that his nephew would be a better inventor than he was, and he murdered him. So maybe he murdered him? Instead of and he murdered him? Therefore, or something like that? You
Yeah,
tie those together a little
therefore.
bit, yeah? For that, he was exiled to Crete, where he worked for King Minos. In Crete, he invented many things. One of the most important things he invented was for the queen of Crete. Poseidon had cursed her to fall in love with the king's bull, and she asked Daedalus for help. He invented a suit that made her appear as a cow, and she conceived the Minotaur. He built a labyrinth for the Minotaur, but shortly after King Minos found out about the invention of the cow suit, he imprisoned Daedalus and his son Icarus on the tallest tower. So there's another really weird comma. He imprisoned Daedalus, comma, and his son Icarus on the tallest tower.
Daedalus.
That's like,
And his son Icarus.
those are not complete sentences. This probably doesn't need to be
Icarus isn't important anymore.
You don't need a comma before every and that you use. So yeah, that was, you want to clean that one up. And then there was a blah, 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 that might have gotten cleaned up. I saw earlier that you started a sentence with but. Oh, there, yeah, but. So he invented many things, period, but one of the most important things, right? So
Right,
you could put a
those are
comma there
separate
and a little.
thoughts.
I know, but you could put a comma there and tie it together,
Okay.
or you don't need the conjunction there. You still start sentences with conjunctions, you know. All right. So this is where the story that most people know begins. Daedalus and his son Icarus escape using wax wings Daedalus had made using candle wax and feathers from birds that perched on the tower. Okay, that's good. I probably wouldn't use wax there twice. So maybe like he escaped using wings Daedalus made from using candle wax and feathers. Like if he made the wings from candle wax, you can assume that there's wax in them.
Yes.
You don't have to say that twice. Before their flight, Daedalus told Icarus not to fly too close to the ocean, or the feathers would get wet and weigh him down, and not to fly too close to the sun, or the wax would melt and he would begin to fall. So that's an interesting fact,
Yes.
and most people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
So you may
I
want
do now.
to call attention to the fact that
Right.
you've probably heard that he was told not to fly too close to the sun, but he was also warned against flying too close. You might want to say something to
Yes.
call attention to that. Okay, once again, but, comma, Icarus had realized that. So not only did you start a sentence with a conjunction, you put a comma after it for some reason.
That makes
So,
a lot.
I know. And that one actually isn't that bad, right? So I don't mind starting that sentence with that conjunction. Like that's kind of the right idea. But Icarus had realized, right? So you should fix it because most people don't like it when you start with conjunctions. But typically that one's fine. But it wouldn't have a comma after it.
Okay.
Right? And even if it was you were joining those sentences into a compound sentences, the comma would be before it and not after it.
I
Right?
don't want to join this. I need to find out.
No, don't. Just get rid of it. So Icarus realized that he was pushing the boundaries of what man can do. Period. He began feeling godlike. So I would probably tie those two sentences together.
And-
Maybe like when Icarus realized that he was pushing the boundaries of what man can do, comma, he began to feel godlike. Like kind of
Yes.
make it a smoother thought. And then this would be a period. Because there's no conjunction here. He began to feel godlike, comma, he felt like he could do anything.
Right.
So those are two complete sentences without a conjunction in there. So now you need maybe one of the conjunctions you put up to start a sentence, you should pull down and put there. And join those two sentences together.
I do that.
One of your conjunctions from here ran away and went into an earlier
Description.
part of your essay where it doesn't belong. So grab it back and put it down here.
I think the big problem here is I'm taking creative writing rules that
Yeah,
I know
I know.
and smacking them on the essay.
He
which is
began
not-
flying higher and higher. comma until the wax melted. So there's another, like, you need to read a little bit about where to use commas and where not to use commas. He'd be higher and higher until the wax melted. That's one thought, one sentence. There's no comma there.
Higher and higher.
And now you can put a comma here where there's not a comma, and his feathers fell off, which is a new complete thought
And
with a conjunction, so there would be a comma there.
And then also a comma.
Yeah.
And
so here I would probably take,
take that comma and put it up there.
Well, you may take like the he out of that and instead make that a dependent clause instead of an independent clause.
Right.
Yeah. So you can put that. Yeah, and plummet it into the sea, right? Even though most versions of the myth are mostly about Icarus, I think that Daedalus is the true hero. I don't know that anybody's the hero in this story.
The true little protagonist.
Yeah, you may say, the real main character or the most interesting. Since you said the most interesting up here, it's okay in the summary to say most interesting again because you're reinstating, and it's long enough. They're far enough apart.
I don't like repeating things.
They're far enough apart. You can repeat it. He did more than just make the wings to fly on. Yeah. So look here, this may be a good place to mention Icarus.
Right.
He did more than just make the wings that Icarus used to fall to his death. Right. So you can do that. Daedalus is a very interesting character, and I hope he's talked about more in the future. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's cool. The structure's pretty good. I think you need to play a little bit with, certainly commas, starting sentences with conjunctions, and then look at your, varying your sentence structure a little bit. Like, one good technique around writing is you don't want a lot of simple sentences. So a simple sentence is just, subject, verb, right? Yeah. So a compound sentence is two complete sentences with a conjunction and a comma.
Right.
Or the independent clause with a comma and a independent.
Right. I just have a really bad habit of writing run-on sentences that last for the entire page.
But so you really, the most important thing in your writing to keep your writing sort of more interesting is to not just use the same thing over and over again, right? So don't just use simple sentences or just use complex sentences. Or compound, mix it up a little bit. Like this, a simple sentence, and then two independent clauses with a comma, and then a dependent clause and an independent clause, right? Just kind of mix it up a little bit the way that you write.
Yeah. Like
right now, I think you get into a little bit of a pattern of using the same thing over and over again. So read on that a little bit, clean those things up, and then we'll post it on Tumblr, and then those guys can go read and give their opinion of what you wrote and how much it's improved since the last time and what you should do on the next time.
Hopefully it's improved.
Yeah, it's definitely improved. It's definitely better. And I think we'll just keep going.
And it's better, because what you guys saw was the result of an hour of back and forth editing.
Yeah, we talked about the structure a lot, and we've already done a lesson on that.
And I think this is a better first draft.
Yeah.
Or technically second draft.
It started better than the last one finished even.
Yay!
And now it's even better than it was the first time I read it.
Probably the skeleton. Because usually I don't skeleton things in the creative writing. Because usually my version of outline is big, giant events, and my brain can just make up what happens.
Yeah, and so we talked a little bit about how the outline works, and so I think when you do, is it Monday when you do the next one?
Yes, it's
so
Monday.
On Monday, when you do the next outline, it will be better, which will make your next essay better. We're also going to change and add a couple of new channels to the YouTube list, where Presley can look at some more opinion vloggers, because a lot of writing an essay is about convincing somebody of something, and we're watching a lot of science vloggers, and so it's more about describing science, so it would be good to get some more sort of opinionated stuff in there.
People.
Although here, like you are saying, look, I'm trying to convince you that Daedalus is the most interesting character in the story.
Because I didn't want to just
tell the story.
Yeah, I didn't want to just tell the story.
No, you managed to do it here, but I think with some, we'll pick some other people and put their videos on, and I think it'll help a little bit.
And I think you could probably also find some videos like that specifically, because the GED, which is what this is practice for, I'm assuming, is 45 minutes, write an essay on this specific topic, so I think it would be good for everyone to for you to throw in. Here's a video, write this video.
So we will, that's kind of what we're doing though, I'm giving you choices, but they're limited choices. It's only the videos that you've watched in the past couple of days, right? So you get to pick, but you don't get to pick anything. It has to be one of the topics that's come up in those videos. So we will, as you get a little bit better, we'll give you specific topics to write on.
Right.
Cool?
Cool.
Are you ready to do some yoga?
Yes.
Okay.
I need to change first because I'm wearing a skirt, but yes.
Let's go do some yoga.
All right, my friends, let's begin in a nice, comfortable seat of your choice. Sit up nice and tall. And as you take a moment to get settled in today, consider the focus of our practice, which is to honor. Honor exactly who you are and where you're at.
Okay, so we just finished our yoga. It was really, really nice. It was a little bit more intense today. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. And I'm definitely hoping that I can do it for 31 days and maybe later and keep doing it after that. But yeah, tonight I'm starting Headspace, which is a super duper cool app that Hannah Hart recommended a whole lot in her book. And I've also heard a lot of other people recommend it, so I'm going to try it out tonight. I have 10 free sessions with Headspace, so hopefully I'm going to do one a night, and when I get through those, I might get a bunch more. But yeah, my dad does it, so I decided I want to try it as well. So that's it for tonight. It was a super duper nice day. I have a quite busy day tomorrow. But yeah, I feel like I got a lot done today. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Bye!